Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the FanSplash Podcast, episode 29. We are your co-hosts, Jesse Swift and Tyler Hall.
And me!
And Andy. And we are also a guest, as well as being a co-host, because this is Andy's house. Take it all in, bask in the Star Wars nerdy amazing glory.
If only you could see it all.
If only you could see it all. But we will return for the next episode of the FanSplash well, not the next one, but when we do Star Wars Rogue One review, we might see even more of this amazing Star Wars-ness.
Revenge of the Podcast?
Revenge of the Podcast.
Podcast Strikes Back. I mean, there's so many options.
I've actually titled one like that. It was
really?
The Attack and Return of the Phantom Podcast.
That's what it was.
Revenge Strikes Back.
That's what it was.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
did that. It was for one of the Rogue One trailers.
Yep.
And we actually they put ads on our video because we used the Imperial March through a phone and they picked it up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but not, because there's no ads on it. But
Freaking First Order Nazis.
But they're like, you used copyrighted content. And we're like, so nobody watches this.
yeah.
It's like, you're going to put an ad on our 18 views? Thanks, you
Until
jackass.
now.
Awesome. So there will be plenty of Star Wars in the editing and things like that. But we want to warm you up to this great environment and all the amazing aesthetics and things like that before we crack into some of the content. And we're going to make this a very special, interesting episode, not as straightforward as some of the past ones have been.
Yeah, so a lot of prep for... Obviously, this is a tease for the Rogue One podcast we're going to have.
This is just the tip, guys.
This is just the tip, because
The tip of the saber?
Did you mention we might do this in another spot because this guy has so much stuff, so much Star Wars stuff.
It would be wasted to keep it all in one.
There's enough stuff in here to do multiple sets for multiple casts.
But
there aren't many movies coming out. So.
Show some of your tattoos for a second, Andy.
We talked about him in the last
we
one,
have,
but
so Andy was the first guest ever that we've had on the podcast. He did 2 consecutive
And I will be
episodes.
the last.
And he will be the last. He's shutting
They will
it down.
never take you alive.
Darth McKill.
Well, because I just wanted, because I didn't know if they picked up or anything, but this guy...
You know what we can do? I'll go out of frame for a second, because now I can get close enough.
There we go. Yes.
There you go.
Look at it.
Them. So there's a couple of lightsabers there. There is... Oh, can we do it? Maybe, maybe not. These are kind of hard to pick up.
You can see that there's color and it's Star
There's
Wars.
an R2-D2 here with Princess Leia in the lens. Well, that's really hard to do reverse. There's...
Flex.
Darth
Darth Flex.
looking very confused.
Look, his helmet enlarges.
It does. It does a lot.
But as you can tell, he's got
there's a bit
quite
of
the
stuff.
amount of Star Wars tattoos.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to use as an example when he was the guest over at our original kind of studio setup. But as you can clearly tell, there's much more to it than a bunch of tattoos.
There's a damn electric guitar.
Yeah. Getting right down to it, Andy, since you were the first guest on our podcast, you were going to be the first one to witness our very first monthly Loot Crate unboxing.
Yeah!
Which I have never seen one of those in person before.
So neither have I. This guy did one on our Think Now channel.
That's what I was going to bring up. I did a Loot Crate unboxing. Was it back on the Think Now or was it on FanSplash?
I think it was one of the last videos on Think Now, but I could be wrong. I don't remember. Once we got canceled, it was a little convoluted.
It got really
the Star
confusing.
Wars version of those are called, I think, Smuggler's Bounty or something like that.
They
or...
have a lot of them.
They should have called them the Luke Crate.
Luke Crate.
Oh.
Oh, God. They could have. They probably could have.
That would have been amazing.
All right, so right off the bat, I'm opening it. We've got some
Yeah, show
stuff going on.
Each loot crate has its own exclusive art inside, and they
This
all
is
have
like
a
some
theme every
grains
month.
and magic potions. It kind of looks like Evil Con Carne, if you remember that Cartoon Network show. If you're my generation.
I thought it was Invader Zim just on the colors.
Yeah, Invader Zim color scheme. We've got
The reason we wanted
Doctor
this so bad.
Strange, not quite the size I had anticipated. Well, if Andy's going to go up to the camera.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I'll use the fast forward effect.
All right. And what else do we
And this
got?
this is leaving Tyler's site immediately.
Absolutely not. Become an Obliviator. Recruiting now every half moon of the month.
Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
So we got a Fantastic Beast shirt. Jesse and I did a review for that movie. We went and saw it.
I heard it got really good reviews.
I loved
It was
it.
much better than I thought it was going to be. It
And
was-
we also have a Doctor Strange review, so anything in this loot crate is probably going to be relevant to our podcast.
Yeah. Well, your mom's relevant to our podcast, so.
Well, we film in her basement, so
The Night is Dark. That would be Game of Thrones. There's a little journal.
we reviewed the
full of
last
terrors.
season of Game of Thrones. So
we
again,
reviewed season 6,
oh god, I think so.
7 of Game of Thrones.
I think it was 6.
What do we got? Elder Scrolls Online. Loot pins.
Any Skyrim fans out there?
I've not played Skyrim. I played Oblivion, and I played the ever-loving shit out of Morrowind. Alright. Big Trouble in Little China comic.
That's
That's what it
relevant.
looks like.
That's funny.
That looks like the Mandarin, the real Mandarin, not the Ben Kingsley one.
It's Lopan, I believe.
Oh, Lopan, Superman, every single Power Ranger
Bill
built.
S. Preston, Theodore Logan, Spock the Rock,
Doc Ock and Hulk Hogan. All right, we got it up.
And some magical.
That kind of looks like
Quiz.
not Zatanna, but
It looks like a overview of what we got in the box.
and Tyler, how much does Loot Crate cost a month? You get a shirt value where if you were to go to Hot Topic, this shirt would be $20 to $22, and it costs that or less for the whole Loot Crate.
I got it for 13 after shipping.
That's really cheap.
Yeah.
13 after shipping, but I had a $3 off code from the Monday Morning Podcast with Bill Burr.
I mean, look at the value here. This is a Loot Crate exclusive, meaning the value will only go up, and you cannot buy this anywhere other than this month. Like after this month, that is unavailable. So instant value.
No, it's a pretty decent deal.
You definitely get your
That
money's
is why
worth.
we plan on doing more in the future.
Absolutely. So thank you for bringing that in, and we will have more unboxings, and it will be fantastic. And maybe Loot Crates.
I could just make one. I could just put a bunch of my collection in a
Oh,
box.
look, I've never seen this before.
You know what I used to do
That
when
happens
I
to
was...
me all the time. I open stuff up and I'm just like, I forgot that I bought this 12 years ago. That's sweet.
That's never once happened to me because I very rarely buy anything that isn't food. It's funny because I'll spend my money like willy-nilly, like, yeah, I'll pay $30 for this food. But then I will be like, $12 for that? No. And I
Like
can
something that
keep it
lasts forever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can look at it. I mean, that's kind of the fun thing about coming here is that there's always something to look at.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the Donald Duck right there.
In carbonite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to get to that point with our podcast, just adding more
Yeah,
posters.
that's another part of the Loot
aesthetics.
Crate
Yes.
thing is it's just gonna we've got a shelf that's kind of full of like little here and there's, but maybe we'll fill that with the Funko Pop characters and stuff like that.
It's been ever expanding.
All sorts of different things. I really like those die-cast guys that we got for the Suicide Squad, though.
Yes,
I
those
really
are very
hope
cool.
that they
and I will be
start
looking
making more of those.
for more of those. Well, the way we're going to break up today is obviously you got the unboxing, and we're going to try to do that one podcast a month, obviously, because it ships once a month. Today we have a couple topics that we want to run over really quick, and then we're going to address the council. I thought that'd be appropriate. And we're going to talk a little bit about upcoming movies for 2017, things to look forward to. And then Andy's going to give us a breakdown of just kind of, we're going to talk a little bit about Rogue One briefly, and then
Star Trek.
Yes, we're talking immensely about Captain Kirk.
There, side note, because none of you will ever come here, and you may, yeah, if you're pretty. So in this house of nothing but Star Wars stuff, there is one Star Trek item that I've strategically placed
Easter
in
egg.
this house that is visible, open, like wide open, and it's more of a game to see if anybody can spot where I put it.
All right, guys. So let's talk about the next installment in the Martin Scorsese pantheon of films, That is, we just watched a trailer for, just came out a couple days ago, Silence, with,
It's called.
yeah, it's called, and it
The
has,
sequel will be called Of the Lambs, and there will be no context.
if not for anything else, I'm sure Andy's purely seeing this based on Qui-Gon Jinn and Kylo Ren being in the film. But we also have the Amazing Spider-Man. No longer Spider-Man, because we have Tom Holland.
Actually, wouldn't Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn essentially be the creator of Ben Solo because he found Anakin Skywalker?
Yes, chain of events, yes,
Like-
in a way.
Had it not been for Qui-Gon finding Anakin,
There'd be no
Ben
Leia.
Solo would never exist.
Right.
I'm kind of getting, back to the movie,
All right.
a little less excited about Liam Neeson stuff. It's just like what I was saying about Samuel L. Jackson last week. You know, I mean, he's not as frequently in stuff as Samuel L. Jackson, but you kind of see him and you're like, am I excited about this movie just because it's Liam Neeson? No.
Well, so I mean, if he's a priest, there is it just going to be? I have a particular set of skills.
Yeah.
I can pray like a motherfucker.
They're making Taken 7, so that's another. I think it might have been the Taken movies and how he took off a little more after that, but his excitement factor is gone. It's not like something where you'll see somebody else. I don't have an example off the top of my head, but you'll like Andrew Garfield. Be like, oh, I'll go see this because I like Andrew Garfield, and he's
yeah,
not in fucking everything.
It's like, we know him for like Social Network, Spider-Man, and then like very few and far in between. So he's still a gem to go see perform. He's not saturated in the Hollywood verse.
In the trailer for Silence, though, I mean, all the other characters, you can kind of see what they do or what their roles are supposed to portray, but with Liam Neeson, you just kind of see him as a captive, and that's all. Like, I mean, he's a priest that's been, they're assuming, taken hostage, and they're just kind of like, we should go figure this out.
But you don't get a whole lot. You get a lot of dialogue from Andrew Garfield, but
A cameo from Adam Driver's ears.
a little.
I can't. They're so ridiculous. Like, his head is so skinny.
Hey, he was
and his
born that
ears
way,
are
man.
I'm sorry.
How would you like us to start talking about your head?
My head's enormous, and I've been made fun of my entire life. So go for it. It's filled with brains. But I'm Adam Driver's almost getting to the point. It's like they filmed. They do it sometimes with actors.
I get it about my nose.
I'm sorry, Seth.
I'm ginger, so you guys can just go to hell.
You first, because at
Yeah.
least we have a soul. But they do this a lot with actors where they know, they've done it with Hemsworth, they know their big movie is coming out, the one that's really going to put them out into the world. And they have movies of theirs already filmed, but they hold back on release until, like, with Chris Hemsworth, they had already done Cabin in the Woods, and I think Red Dawn and all that stuff was filmed prior to Thor. And then they did Thor, and then they're like, oh, look at all these Hemsworth movies now, and then they released them in theaters.
Let's talk about Star Wars some more.
Yeah,
I know some stuff about that.
Do you know something about Star Wars?
You want to talk about Star Wars, Andy?
and things.
Anyway, so just final thoughts about the movie. There's a lot of already Oscar buzz surrounding the movie. And, sorry. Oh, am I leaning on you too much?
Yeah.
Typically, I think off the gate, this wouldn't be a movie I would see in theaters, but because of all the positive buzz I'm getting and we'll see closer to release, I think I'm going to go see it because Martin Scorsese is an incredible, near flawless filmmaker.
Well, my thoughts about it are star power with Andrew Garfield. I loved Amazing Spider-Man 2, much to everyone else's chagrin. And I love Martin Scorsese, and Andrew Garfield was in Hacksaw Ridge, which got a 10-minute standing ovation. That is Mel Gibson's decade later comeback. 10 minutes standing ovation. Can you imagine, like, 10 literal minutes of, like, yeah! Mel Gibson is great. It's a shame that 10 years ago he went on about the Jews and got a DUI, but he has always been very, very, very talented.
That doesn't make him any less of an actor. It just makes him a douche.
Yeah. But I mean, and that was 10 years ago too. I'm not defending him. I'm just saying he's a really, really good actor, and he's an even better director.
I think,
I mean, because look at Passion of the Christ was just something, and Apocalypto was something else. So, and Hacksaw Ridge was there, but going from there, Andrew Garfield is the main character of it, and for Scorsese to pick him, dude obviously knows how to act.
Yeah.
You know, so
And I think he's going to bring it. Absolutely.
But see, for me, the tough part is the only thing I've seen him in is Spider-Man. And so that's all I know him as.
yeah.
And so for me, it's just going to be like, oh, I'm
gonna
watching
see
Spider-Man with a beard.
Peter Parker
talking
grew his
about
beard out.
Jesus.
Jesus.
So, but, you know, I'm sure once I actually watch the film and see a different character side of him, I can get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I would agree with all of that. And I think we all, to some degree, are anticipating Silence. Curious to see what these actors that we, like, I don't know if you guys have seen Adam Driver and other things. I know him for Kylo Ren, even though I've kind of kept an eye on all the movies he's done. I've never actually seen those movies. So he's still
I
been
saw
Solo to
him
me.
in This Is Where I Leave You before I saw Force Awakens.
Okay. I have not seen him in anything. And I know he's known for Girls, the show, and I haven't seen him before or after Force Awakens in anything, really.
I don't know what any of that is. I just saw him in one other movie.
Okay. Well, it will be a chance for us to see a lot of these people that we know from other things get to really come out and show us that they can do other roles. So thanks for that opportunity, Martin Scorsese. Let's move on to a very, very different genre, sci-fi. And Tyler in the last podcast was absolutely, well, I think it was our coming soon video, actually, which please go watch. We do a breakdown of everything coming out from right now all the way into August. And we talked about Alien a little bit, and he gushed about that was true sci-fi horror and like its best element, or at least your favorite element.
Alien sci-fi, though, has always been great. And I think that Alien is a perfect example of that.
There's so much you can do with it.
There is, Alien sci-fi is like the greatest point of horror when it comes to that, because there's a disgust factor in it. You know, like that thing touches you.
It's a
Would you
parasite.
ever feel clean again?
No.
You know? And
the acid
and then just like
eventual-
the practical effects too, with how genuinely terrifying it looks. Like, it's so ugly and terrifying, and the fear in the actors and the practical effects, the way they coincide, is you get the, yeah, I would be shitting my pants too. It's not just like a whatever, the ghost wouldn't react like that. It's like,
Right.
This alien is gonna lay eggs in my stomach and burst out of my chest. You know, it's genuine horror in my opinion.
I think when the nice crossover that they have done, that's not necessarily ghost or paranormal, but is movies like Event Horizon, where it's not necessarily an alien monster movie, but there's this unknown aspect of it that's alien by definition. And, you know, like you walk into, or Sphere.
Yeah, Sphere
you know,
is a great one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're still terrifying because they're so foreign.
Yeah.
But that's what you're right. It is great about the Alien movies when done properly, or when Ridley Scott does it right.
And Ridley
let
Scott.
me ask you something real quick. Life with Ryan Gosling and Ryan Reynolds. Doesn't that kind of look like Sphere mixed with like Mission to Mars a little bit? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
I'm interested to see how that turns out, because it could be kind of a return to that form that you like so much.
Well, where is the suspense? You know, like that's kind of something that's kind of lost its way a little too. There's
a difference between suspense and horror.
Well, there's the quick suspense.
And casting.
What they do now
Winona
is
Ryder.
they up the music and the drama in something, and you know,
violins.
You know, someone's about to die, and then sometimes they'll be like, "Dun," and then nothing happens, and it was just like, "Oh, you scared me," but then they'll turn around and get killed.
Is that how you react?
But
by the
where's
way?
the yeah? Oh, you scared me. But there's something that has just kind of gone away in that, and that is why I'm excited for another Alien movie. Not that like they haven't made plenty of them, but they've spaced them out so well, and they've all been consistently decent to the point where, you know, and it's such a terrifying creature as well. So
Please don't CGI him. I said that last time too.
Yeah.
You got to keep it practical. Bring it back.
I actually got to meet Stan Winston.
Is he
before he
the
died.
prop designer?
Yeah, he was the original designer for the Aliens. And so that was actually really cool, because he was just happy to talk about it. He's still, 15, 20 years later, was still just like, yep, I made these, and they're awesome.
have you seen the sets though? Like go and it's like legitimate, like built huge prop pieces, and they used to do that. And other than like, they make a big deal out of when they do that now, which is Andrew.
Rude.
We're talking about this because not only did we talk last time about Alien Covenant coming out, but now we have our first official poster.
Why
Yes.
Covenant?
What's that?
Why Covenant?
I think that's the name of the ship in this movie.
Okay.
This Covenant.
Oh.
Kind of like, was it the Nebuchadnezzar? No, what is that?
Yeah.
That's the Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I knew it was a ship. But yeah, the poster, it's very simple. It's just the Xenomorph's face, which is exciting. We get the return of the Xenomorph. Because Ridley Scott has done Alien 1, Prometheus, and then this movie, right? Any other thing with Alien in it was either James Cameron or somebody with the stupid crossovers,
Yeah.
right? So,
Oh, Alien versus Predator that
Yeah.
never happened?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Requiem definitely didn't happen. Alien vs. Predator, I don't know if it happened. But I like the tagline of this poster, and it gives me the sense that we might get something closer to the original. And
Run.
it just says run. And it's very, very dark. It's a dark poster with just the head kind of emitting out of the shadows. And I was like, be a dark, scary movie. Like, a lot of people like Aliens too, say it's a superior movie, but it was like an action sci-fi horror. It'd be cool just to get down to the grit of one person, one alien being terrified and secluded in a different environment.
Yeah. Will Sigourney Weaver be in it?
I think I heard that they're going to get Sigourney Weaver in it, but I'm also confused because they said Michael Fassbender's returning from Prometheus also.
So they're gonna try and tie it together?
Maybe.
That'd be nice.
This movie originally was like Prometheus 2. It was like,
Oh,
to some degree.
okay. Because that's what I wanted was because for as much flack as Prometheus got, I thought it was a really good introduction to the Xenomorph.
Yeah, and I've actually never heard one bad thing about Prometheus.
I haven't heard specifically bad things, but I've heard people that were underwhelmed or didn't like it, but just didn't really.
It was
list
people
why.
that thought they were getting an Aliens movie, and then they went and watched it, and they're just like, "This isn't an Aliens movie."
Right. So I think, yeah, to some degree, I think they're maybe trying to tie the two franchises, and I think this, the stockholders and stuff were like, I think Ridley Scott's like, I want to do Prometheus 2, and they're like, it didn't do that well. Could you please do an Aliens movie? He's like, I'm gonna find a way to do both.
We're just gonna call it Aliens then.
Yeah. So I'll have to watch Prometheus then before I see this. I have seen Aliens 1, 2.
You haven't seen Prometheus?
I have not.
Terrorist.
Yeah. Clearly I'm a terrorist.
I must be a terrorist too. I haven't seen it.
Jeez.
Why are we talking about it?
Come on, Wicket, let's go.
What's his name?
Wicket.
Wicket?
Yeah.
Oh.
Have you seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
Not that they say his name in it or anything.
All right, guys. Well, what we wanted to do is actually talk about. This is a little different. We had a really low week for news and things like that, so we're going to give you some things that we want to talk about. One of them being, I had sent a giant list. Andy didn't even have to think about it, so but just a giant list of movies coming out in 2017 because it's going to be a big, big year. You thought 2016 was big with BVS, Civil War, Suicide Squad, and all those things, Independence Day, and all the other disappointments.
This turned out to be a year of disappointment. Yeah.
Mostly, other than Civil War was pretty fantastic, and we're getting some gems at the end of the year, which thank God. But anyways, 2017 is loaded. 3 Marvel movies, 2 DC films, and then Star Wars, of course. So we got lots of things to think about, talk about. I want to know what is each one of your guys' most anticipated film in 2017. We'll start with Andy.
Episode 8's pretty spot on.
What do you want to see in Episode 8?
I want to finally see what's been going on with Luke.
Absolutely.
I think everybody wants that answer. And it's funny because in all the stuff that I've purchased that, has little, like, quips about, the character, one of them mentions something to the effect of Rey comes to see Luke Skywalker, and it looks like he's ready to step into the light as a Jedi again. And I was like, that's actually saying a lot for what you're given in the movie.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, either somebody's making a lot of assumptions, because they're not just going to be like, well, here, go ahead and tell them that. But I think that's the main question that everybody wants answered at this point. A lot of people were pissed that it was just like, well, here's Luke, credits.
Yeah.
But besides the Luke factor, it's like, how is Rey's relationship with Luke going to work out? Is Chewie now just going to be with Rey? Like, is Rey basically taking on the Han Solo mantle? Because Chewie was with Han Solo for as long as he was, expanded universe, because because Han Solo saved him while Han was a stormtrooper, and so he, you know, owed him his life, and that was why he stayed with him. And then, you know, obviously the friendship developed, and so he just wouldn't leave him anyway because he loved him. So will he just stay because, well, this is what I've been doing for the last, you know, 30, 40 years now? It's not like he's just going to go home. They wouldn't do that with the character. So it's just, how are they going to make all that work? Peter Mayhew, you know, did reprise his role as Chewie, but that was kind of a lot of the reason why Chewie got injured in Force Awakens, is so that he could be sitting, because Peter Mayhew physically can't move that well any longer. He did have a double for the action scenes, and he worked with him specifically to get Chewie's mannerisms down. So at this point, you know, is Peter Mayhew still going to be portraying Chewie for a part of the movie? And if so, is that going to hinder Chewie's role? Or are they going to make him less involved?
Or will he be more of a consultant?
Mm-hmm. Right, like...
Chewie, what should we do on this matter? I agree.
He's sleepy. You know, R2-D2, are we going to get finally more R2-D2? It was almost the same thing as Luke. You know, R2 just shut down the whole movie, and then he finally perks up. So there are still a lot of characters that they haven't done much with.
We wanted to get our introductions out of the way.
Yeah, which they did. But 3PO and R2 were pivotal characters that always had scenes together, and they only had, you know, one. Everyone's just like, well, here they are.
There was a lot of suspense in it that I believe they might have carefully done. It pissed a lot of fans off, but I also think that they knew that Episode 8 probably wasn't going to get the buzz that Force Awakens was getting, the excitement factor. So they had to carry some things like, now we'll get more R2, now we'll get more Luke.
Will Finn and Rey? I don't think Finn and Rey are going to cross paths a whole lot in this movie, because
this one specifically.
Yeah, they went out of their way to say we will meet again.
So they'll culminate back in Episode 9.
Right. Will it be that she's a villain at that point? That's a possibility.
Yeah, and where are they going with these characters, and what direction and what relation do these characters have together? Where does Rey fit with Finn or Ben Solo?
Right.
You know, where does her finding Luke, what goes on after that?
Will Poe finally, will they intersect? I mean, you know, they cross paths, but will Poe become a part of the team, or is he just has his own story arc?
Can we have more Poe and Finn bromance?
I was just going to say, Finn took a pretty hard and pretty quick liking to Poe.
Mm-hmm. He's a likable guy.
Yeah, well, he is, but what I'm saying is, we definitely need more Poe. We definitely need more Finn. But I think what people want most is Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. And what I was waiting for with The Force Awakens is I heard a different kind of story, and it was more about Luke's focus of power and how powerful as a Jedi he had become.
He was light Vader.
But they don't want to make these Luke Skywalker movies. That was kind of the point. You know, he's in it, and I think, you know, it's going to be a lot of the internal struggle with Rey accepting her being a Force user.
Who are her parents?
Yeah, are they gonna talk about her parents? I mean, these are all questions that may not even get answered until 9.
Sure, and you don't think that it'll kind of follow the theme Force Awakens was A New Hope? This will be more like...
I don't care. I liked
Return of the Jedi.
It was a Star Wars movie that...
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I hope tonally it kind of does follow that. And I remember there's that Fall of the Resistance rumored title. I don't know if that's actually going to be the title. Probably not.
Pretty bad title.
It is, but thematically, what that said to me
was Empire Strikes Back.
Was Empire Strikes Back, and I want to see that. Obviously, don't follow the same plot line like they did with New Hope and Force Awakens.
It needs to be much more original. It needs to be much more original than Force Awakens was from A New
They're
Hope.
claiming they've made a lot of claims that they're resetting the bar, and that this will trump Force Awakens.
Sure, and that's probably
awesome
why it's
director.
been pushed back 6-7 months.
Rian Johnson.
But, so
can we talk the dark side that we got introduced to with Force Awakens, Kylo and Snoke?
What do you think Snoke is supposed to?
How tall is Snoke?
Is he Boba Fett?
Are they trying to throw us for a loop with trying to make Kylo Ren irredeemable? Because if I recall correctly, I heard this was going to continue the Skywalker storyline, but it wasn't going to be about Luke. So I believe they're leading us to believe that Rey is a Skywalker. Is that is that not?
I think that was what they wanted to lead you.
So they want to
towards,
lead you to believe it,
but
but technically Ben Solo Kylo Ren is
In the Skywalker family.
is a Skywalker. They want you to make him think that he's irredeemable by essentially killing his father. But he has that struggle. He has that internal struggle, the pull to the light. You know, he wants.
But he's going out of his way to get rid of that.
But he's going out of his way to get rid of that. I think when it comes down to like saving Rey or something, or like the ultimate like stopping of Snoke, it'll be a lot like Vader and Palpatine.
The self-sacrifice.
You know? Sure.
I hope not. I actually would almost hope that somebody's got to. They're going to be the ones that hate that they have to kill Ben Solo or Kylo Ren. I think that he may fake going light again. He may just as a way to infiltrate
There's
or something.
so many things you do with this character.
Yeah, it's a spider web. It's like Jesse's phone here. How the screen is so cracked. I mean, there's all these storylines that could go in a billion different directions.
Sure.
And a year from now, we could watch this and be like, "What the hell were we thinking?" But
a lot of people were really wrong on Force Awakens.
right.
Kill Kylo Ren 10 minutes into the, they could Count Dooku him. But and then you're like, well, who's the Skywalker?
But there's the Knights of Ren, which will be introduced.
I want to see so bad, which I want to bring that up too when you're done with your.
No, that's okay. Go for it.
Well, there was some really horrible, like helicopter set photos of the island that Luke and Rey are on for Episode 8. I think it's in Ireland. I don't remember what the island's called.
I think it was not Skull Island. Something.
Skull Island.
there's Rey, Luke, King Kong, and there's like big crossover happening. But anyways, they had set photos really far away, and it looked like there were a lot of figures wearing black on the island, and people don't know those either people that just have their jackets on or whatever. But the assumption that people are making is that we are getting a face-off between the Knights of Ren being the first people to find Luke and Rey, and Luke taking on like the entirety of the Knights of Ren. That would
be dope.
That alone, I will pay like 5 showings for the movie. I don't care what happens before or after that event. Luke taking on the Knights of Ren, take all of my money repetitively.
Luke takes on the Knights of Ren, and then the biggest stinking pile of garbage after that, worse than Batman versus Superman.
Well, how much of Rey's training are we going to see?
Sure.
Are we going to just show up and she's going to be like, "I'm a Jedi now," and we're like, "Okay, Anakin."
Yeah.
I hope it's like it doesn't take up a lot of time, but it's similar to Empire Strikes Back.
A lot of people had problems that she was like able to like tap into the Force so quickly and use it against a stormtrooper.
But if she's a Skywalker, that would make perfect sense.
Well, it would also make sense that like she's Force sensitive. Those people haven't been like subjected to the Force probably, and it's kind of been like in the dark, other than like Kylo Ren, really, right? So. I mean, if it hasn't been used on you and you have no defense against it, it didn't work at first, and then
troopers
eventually
are typically weak-minded just because they're so drone-like.
What are you saying, Jesse?
I am very racist against troopers.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just saying that aspect of it isn't as stupid as everyone made it seem.
So I guess my answer is Episode 8.
Thank you for wrapping that up in a tight little bow. Obviously, we're all very excited to see Episode 8, but we also want to give
we have questions.
You guys independent movies to look forward to and why. I will let myself go last because I probably have the less popular opinion out of these 3 movies because they all are like probably just unbiasedly going to be amazing. Talk to us about Spider-Man, Tyler.
No, it's not Spider-Man. It's Logan.
Oh, did you change it?
Yeah.
All right.
Logan.
Well, Tyler's got his anticipated film in March.
X-23.
If you've seen our X-Men conversation, that would be episode 11 with
2 hours
Cody.
long.
It's more like 3. It's like 2:49.
Oh god.
It's really, really long.
We're passionate.
And it's like 2. Yeah, it's longer than the Civil War one. So I don't know. I was really excited about Spider-Man, and I'm really excited for seeing like Marvel's take on Spider-Man. But I loved Apocalypse so much, and I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I love the X-Men franchise. X-Men has always been my favorite.
This is it.
So.
This is all you're getting.
We kind of hope.
Saying. That's what we hope that this is the end to it, and then they kind of reboot it if they do that, and just kind of like from the jump do it right instead of like it wasn't really their fault
Do a real X Factor, or I mean not X Factor, Weapon X.
Yeah. Well, the problem with X-Men was that it was made in 2000.
Yeah.
And they didn't plan on making as many as they did.
16
10.
films or whatever.
And they didn't. I don't know why they chose to continue doing it in like the face of all these other reboots. You know, they did like the First Class soft reboot, and but
And they couldn't just let that be a reboot. They're like, and we're going to tie it back to all the mistakes that
yeah,
we
I don't
made.
know why they couldn't just like reboot that, right? Because they tried the Origins thing, and
They made their bed, and they were just like, well, here's what we got to work with.
And now they're still considering another soft reboot after Logan because they're
Make
like,
it a hard reboot.
We think we could get Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy
And
back.
we're going to talk to Jennifer. No.
Yeah.
Stop.
No. There are plenty of people that
Mystique's a damn villain, okay? Mystique is
Yes.
a villain.
She killed the
Yes.
president in one of the comics.
She's supposed to be a radical, is
Yeah.
what she's supposed to be. She's supposed to be a radical for mutant kind. And they have not done that well in Apocalypse and Days of Future Past. But Days of Future Past, yes, but Apocalypse kind of, they're like, let's make her a good guy because that's what Jennifer Lawrence wants.
Yeah, have Katniss lead the X-Men. That makes sense.
Anyway,
Logan!
that's not what we're going to
Logan!
bitch about.
But I could bitch about a lot of it, and we did in the X-Men conversation. That's 3 hours.
That was
long,
the
if you wanna
point.
Check that out. But so Logan, rated R, send off. We get Patrick Stewart again, which as many ups and downs as the X-Men franchise has had, I think Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman have been the biggest strong suits of the franchise.
Consistently.
Which leads to the question of where are the rest of the X-Men in this?
Oh, probably dead.
They said there's no more mutants in the trailer.
Yeah,
Oh,
maybe
there you
they've
go.
all been hunted out.
Then how is the oldest of them still alive? I mean, he looks like he's in shit shape.
I've heard that this is
Well,
2026.
He would be very, very old. We did the math on this. 80, 90 something.
Yeah.
And
We did the math and I don't remember it. So he's senile. Or he's got Alzheimer's, it looks like. Or he's in bad shape.
yeah, he's not doing very good.
His legs don't work.
Why is the oldest still alive? Maybe, I don't know.
And Logan
he's a
almost
pretty
looks like
powerful
he's
mutant.
aging, and
His healing factor is giving up.
Yeah.
exactly, because he's a couple hundred years old.
Yeah, because he fought in the
He's
Civil War.
several hundred years old. He fought in the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and that's weird because like there's the line. He was obviously in Days of Future Past. When does that take place? What future is that? What year is
Oh,
that?
at the end of Days of Future Past?
No, the future timeline.
When
The
they're
future
jumping.
timeline
Oh.
when they're jumping back. What timeline is that? Because if this is if Old Man Logan,
I think
was
Bishop's
26,
around.
I think Logan's around the same time, but different timeline. Like I think
What then? At
I
what
don't know.
point and for what reason does this healing factor
we
kinda
not?
stop?
And
Is
where's
that
Cable?
something that's explained?
Can we not X-Men
No,
timeline right now?
no Cable, because I don't want them to tie Deadpool in with this franchise that I want them to be rid of. I love it, and I'm very thankful for it, but be rid of it, start it over, go MCU on it. Not like, don't partner with Disney, Fox can keep it. I love the idea of mutants being separate from
They should
the
be.
rest of the Avengers, but at the same point, Deadpool is a great standalone film on itself. If they do want to tie that into a new franchise, that would be great, but it would be a shame to see this sort of like Deadpool kind of falter away.
Absolutely.
Once we finally get him.
Specifically, obviously Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, but what other reasons are we really, all of us, looking forward to Logan?
X-23.
X-23 R rating, right? We're gonna get an R-rated Logan, but I don't think it's gonna be like the R-rated Deadpool. It's gonna be a different kind of R. Maybe the violence, but I mean, I don't think it's gonna.
This will be more of like
No dick
why is
jokes.
John Wick rated R? You know?
Exactly. Can we please talk about Laura Kinney, X-23, because that's one of my highlights that I'm most looking forward to in the film. She's a little younger. I know I think X-23 is supposed to be young, but I wanted like a 18-year-old.
Yeah, no, she's
Yeah.
like 13 in the
Yeah, just
comic
for the
book
sake of the action scenes. Like, I
Kind
feel
of
like
wanted
an
like
18-year-old.
Massey Williams kind of.
Is her name pronounced Massey?
I have no idea.
I
Massey.
thought it was Maisie, but I was gonna say I've been wrong forever.
I've
You know what
never
would have
heard
been
it.
cool is to get Summer Glau to play her. That would have been awesome. I would have liked Summer Glau to play her.
And I don't even know who that is.
River.
Huh?
River Tam.
Firefly, dude. You don't know who Summer Glau?
Okay.
I know who Summer Glau is. Friggin' Terminator, John Connor Chronicles. Well, I can't talk. Yeah,
Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Sorry, Connor Chronicles.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I had.
But yeah, she's like a clone of Wolverine. She's got 2 claws in her hands, 1 claw in her foot. Doesn't really make sense, but that you can fit like this long of a claw into your
Somebody's
foot.
getting hit in the dick. That's gonna happen.
She's got giant swords that come out of her arms.
But guys,
her mouth's sewn shut.
it's rated R. Are they gonna have strap-ons like Deadpool? Probably not.
doubtful.
Probably not.
Doubtful, because this is gonna be more of a serious tone.
Did you see the Red Band trailer? It only had one extra scene. Freaking claws to the dude's
Yeah.
cranium. That was so dope.
I'm so excited to see like actual brutality in a Wolverine
Because
film.
Wolverine
what
was
we
a
were kind of
killer.
like, and what we were kind of promised in the Wolverine, and what we got a little taste of, a great little taste of in Apocalypse, and even
the
even
bloody
in X-Men
mess
2,
left behind?
X United,
Yeah.
We just see him just going on a rampage, just effing people up, and I
We
really
want-
want to see,
Give me an R-rated
do that.
Berserker rage for like 2 hours. Like that's
Yeah.
what we want to see. And I like that every time his claws come out now, his hands don't want to heal, and so his hands are just covered in blood. So it's just gonna be a constant bloody mess throughout the entire thing. And
I want Last Resort Logan.
it looks,
like
Nothing to live for, Logan.
sure, exactly.
but handled better than the Wolverine because he also had nothing to live for in that one.
But see, is this also going to be like, I don't want to be a dad? And they're going to be like, you got to be a dad. I don't want to be a dad.
I'm a dad.
Friendship, family.
Do they hold hands or they just hold claws? Just sparks.
Oh, okay. So yes,
You
yes
think she'll
to all
say,
that.
"Does it hurt when they come out?"
That would be great because then she goes, "Me too," and I'd be like, "Oh, it's like Rogue." But
So
not.
Rogue would be dead. Do you think that would affect Logan?
I think he's got to be numb.
He has
to
a
the, at this point.
he's very attached to Rogue.
Yeah.
So
But that's for the movie's sake.
sure.
I wanted to bring something up at the very end of the trailer. You guys see that shot where he's got his claws like this, and there's like claws coming down on him.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a count of the claws, it looks like there's 6 claws coming down on him. Do you guys know who Dakin or Draken is?
You mean Omega Red?
No, Wolverine's son.
Oh,
No.
It is. It's like newer comics, but he's got 2 claws right here, and then another one that comes out of his wrist. And the spacing of the claws at the end of it looks like that. I don't know if they would try to force that into this movie.
Have you happened to have already mentioned in any of your previous podcasts about Legion?
No.
We haven't really talked about it. I'm curious because I like 3 months later watched a trailer for it, and I was like, that looks interesting.
I mean, that was actually one of the few X-Men comics I had as a kid was the death of Professor X, and Legion is the one that, I mean, he was his son. And so in the trailer for Legion, they're like, he is the most powerful mutant we've ever come across.
They said they're going to tie it into X-Men.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was
And I'm like,
wondering.
so are you going to mention Charles Xavier then?
Yeah.
Because I think what they found out with, I'm not going on a tangent about this, but Supergirl, they're like, well, Superman exists, but we're not going to use him. Everyone's like, why?
Why? Superman?
So it's like, this is Charles Xavier's son, but we're not going to say it is.
Yeah.
Why? So, yeah, that's awesome. I didn't know that about Legion, so
Your turn.
I'll definitely watch the show. It is my turn, guys. So we've talked about Star Wars, we've talked about Marvel. To just balance everything out, we're going to talk about DC for a couple minutes. So I have a just absurdly, almost embarrassing love for DC Comics.
No, I feel I'm there with you.
But it's hard
Not quite as
to
there with
be as big of a DC fan as I am, because whenever people are like, "Oh, why do you like DC? I hated Man of Steel, Suicide Squad sucked, Batman vs Superman sucked," I was like, because I like their comics better than Marvel comics. I like their characters better. I think the stories are written better. The DC animated crushes Marvel on every front. DC makes better games than Marvel does.
I wouldn't argue with you on any of that.
Wouldn't?
No.
Okay. And it's because it's like there's all these layers of DC comics and fanboyism that the general public doesn't see doesn't take witness to. They don't watch the Justice League cartoon. They never watch Young Justice. And there's just so much great content that my hope is like can't be diminished. I'm like, yeah, BVS and Suicide Squad were a misstep. I will argue Man of Steel, but I'm getting really tired of doing that.
I'll even argue to defend Batman versus Superman and Suicide Squad.
There's elements. Yeah, it's just...
There's redeemable qualities that can be saved in another movie.
Yeah, you have great characters that are introduced, and then the directors are ruining it. But, I mean, the general audience don't look that deeply into those stories. Anyways, my point that I'm making is give me Justice League in 2017. If you had me, gun to my head, and you get to see one movie in 2017, which would be a horrible thing, what is your one going to be? What are you most curious about? What are you crossing your fingers the most for? It's Justice League. Did you see the footage reel that they released from Comic-Con?
Which one?
It was like a trailer, but it was kind of like cutscenes put together.
It's the one where it shows them doing their action sequences and stuff. Like
not the behind-the-scenes one.
Oh.
It was like the first trailer that came out of Comic-Con, they just called it a footage reel because it wasn't exactly a trailer.
The Icky Thump trailer?
Yes.
That's not technically a trailer?
No, they said this is exclusive, like a footage reel from Comic-Con for the fans because they only had like 5 scenes filmed for the movie so far. They're only like a month into filming when they put the trailer together. Oh. So have you not seen that? Mm-mm. Oh. That I know Tyler doesn't approve of the music usage, but
well, I don't hate it. I just like it's exactly around that time that trailer came out. It's exactly what was like the problem with Batman versus Superman was there was no fun. The problem with Suicide Squad was they tried to shove fun in at the last moment. My problem that I thought they were going to have with Justice League was they were just going to try from the jump to make it just fun, like too much about fun.
Yeah, and you can definitely see the tonal shift in the trailer.
Yeah, and the using the Icky Thump song made it feel like a forced fist, kind of like you're having fun, right? This is fun. This is what you wanted.
Warner Brothers is scaring the shit out of me. Like I can't help it because they're making a lot of choices where I'm like, you either need to calm down or go a different direction. Like I see. Like, even with Batman vs. Superman, I loved all the trailers. The potential is all over the place. And I don't know what they're doing with the Martha business and all that. But
Flashpoint, that's what they're doing.
It
has to be what
that would fix everything. The Flash movie being Flashpoint, just reset everything. Whoop, whoop.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Batman? That would be great.
Anyway.
One thing I'm looking forward to the most is I'm going to run through the casting as quick as I can. I'm starting to buy Gal Gadot more as Wonder Woman after seeing the Wonder Woman trailer. Did you see the Wonder Woman trailer?
Yes, I have, and I will never agree with you on that. But go on, please.
I don't like her casting. There's a million better choices out there. I like it a little more. I'm tolerating it. Anyways, I think Henry Cavill has the potential to be a great Superman. I don't think they've written or directed him well, but there's elements in Man of Steel that I really liked. Jason Momoa is the perfect casting for Aquaman. I would never, you give me the pantheon of all the actors in Hollywood, I would still pick Jason Momoa. So it's like Benedict Cumberbatch with Doctor Strange. It's exactly what I wanted.
Well, Benedict Cumberbatch for Doctor Strange actually looks like Doctor Strange. If you want to get technical, Aquaman was very Aryan. So it's like I get what you're saying. Like, right. Yes, he should look like an Islander. Like that, I get.
He should be cool.
That makes sense.
And not like.
It wouldn't work nowadays if you just had a beautifully blonde
Ryan Gosling,
right? Like that doesn't work. So I get it.
My Aquaman was the Justice League cartoon. Obviously, he was still blonde, but he had the long hair, the hook hand, big buff dude. He
was the most made fun of superhero though too.
Absolutely, which was always unjust to me because I had my cartoons and I had my Injustice video game. So I always in the recent comics,
he was
really
a badass
good.
in Injustice.
Yeah, he definitely was. He's like, oh, you want to fight my people? Well, I got 100-foot tall crustaceans that are gonna come out of the water and wreck your shit. So Aquaman, I'm excited for. I didn't know how to feel when they casted Barry Allen. It's like Ezra Miller. I was like, okay, I haven't seen him in anything, and then I've seen him in a couple things now.
But you wanted Wally West.
I did want Wally West. I was like, have a Barry Allen on TV and give us a Wally West. But they decided they're going to do Barry Allen. I would think they'd want to separate themselves from the TV show by making different choices. Yeah. But now they're going to confuse people because we have Wally West on TV and he's black.
Well, I think the biggest thing that they're doing is they're trying to hold to like New 52, right? So
yes.
And so is Jimmy Olsen. So
what's it? Oh, in Supergirl. Well, they already killed Jimmy Olsen.
In Supergirl?
No, in BVS.
Oh, well, yeah.
They in the extended cut, the agent that they kill in the beginning of the movie, he's like, "Hi, my name's Jimmy Olsen."
Oh, yeah,
and they get
that's
shot
right.
in the head. It's like,
Yeah, that's right.
God, Zack Snyder, you're pissing me off. But
Bye.
when they released the footage reel for Justice League, and I saw he's kind of quirky. He's a little not antisocial, like he wants to be social, but he doesn't know how to properly convey that or talk to people. And the way it's explained by the directors and the writers and things is the way he sees the world. Like it's hard for him to relate or communicate with people because everything's like in a different motion. He sees like all the lights and dust particles and stuff constantly. He's in a whole different world, literally, with the Speed Force and everything. So I like Ezra Miller's portrayal. I'm looking forward to that. We have to watch the footage reel after this so you can see it. What other casting is in the movie? We got Willem Dafoe is playing an Atlantean. Volko, I think. He's from the comics.
Jim Gordon.
Yeah, thank you. That was the next point I was going to make. J.K. Simmons as Jim Gordon. If you're not going to have... my choice would have been Bryan Cranston, but J.K. Simmons is a great choice for Commissioner Gordon. And hopefully, you know, he's got the mustache again, but it's a different mustache, so we're going to not think of J. Jonah Jameson.
Or Gary Oldman.
Or Gary Oldman.
No one will be able to beat Gary Oldman, though.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. Like,
I don't like the Christopher Nolan movies.
All the weak points of the Dark Knight trilogy, Gary Oldman was not one of them.
No, not at all.
No, he was... It's unfortunate for me because with that trilogy, I think there was great casting among it, but I don't like the trilogy as a whole. They're not good Batman movies. Batman, yeah, duh. Ben Affleck, I don't like some of the choices Zack Snyder made with this character, but as far as his casting, I really like his Bruce Wayne.
Thought because
everybody hated
was
it.
So mad. There was it was like such a big deal when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
the
everyone
Batfleck.
was like, "What the fuck? Why? Why?"
When people started throwing up animated pictures of Bruce Wayne next to Ben Affleck, I was like, "Oh, actually, yeah. Like at least he looks the part." And then I started seeing some of the trailers.
Dude,
and his lines.
he's the best Batman so far. I think he's the best Batman.
I was going to ask you because I don't think I talked to you yet. So, a lot of people coming out of BVS, what they were most concerned about was Ben Affleck. Coming out of it, what was the one good thing they said? Oh, Ben Affleck. So it's funny that worked out that way. There's other casting I'd like to talk about, but mainly I'm excited for the plot. We're going to see the Mother Boxes, Steppenwolf, which is Darkseid's uncle. You know, we're bringing on possibly the Darkseid War. There's a million different directions they could go with this. Getting a Galactic villain for...
We know that... I don't know about Justice League itself, but we know it eventually has to lead to Darkseid because of the future sequence in Batman vs.
Yeah, you see the Omega symbol and stuff like that. And I'm glad they didn't make the first Justice League Darkseid, because I'm like, well, everything you do after that's probably going to be a step down. Even Brainiac would be a step down from Darkseid.
As long as they don't Doomsday Darkseid.
Please don't Doomsday Darkseid.
That's all I'm saying.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Doomsday was really bad.
Or even Apocalypse Darkseid.
Yeah. They haven't done well with their big villains, and we're really crossing our fingers. Marvel, who also doesn't do good with their villains, please do Thanos right. You casted him good. Now, give us something.
Well, at least we're getting some sort of like lingering and brooding with Thanos, whereas
Absolutely.
like Ultron was
Something's
there
coming.
and gone.
I think we're going to get that with Darkseid. And are we going to get cameos from the Green Lantern Corps? There's rumors now. And then, or Martian Manhunter, or what characters are going to have small roles in this, and then more in the second.
Please get Martian Manhunter.
Oh, please. Martian Manhunter would be amazing.
And we really do need to get Green Lantern into this. I understand like having like a smaller Justice League at first, Cyborg, Flash, Wonder
Fisher.
Woman, but
that opens up the Galactic fighting.
Sure,
with Martian Manhunter and
where is Hal Jordan in this?
Right, or Jon Stewart.
Or both.
Yeah, or both. They said that the Green Lantern movie is going to be a Green Lantern Corps movie, so maybe we'll see everybody, which would be super cool. Anyways, yeah, I really want to see Justice League. I hope they can turn it around. I also hope this is Zack Snyder's last movie directing for the DC Universe. That's why I'm excited to see, like, Wonder Woman, Patty Jenkins is directing. I'd like to see him on as a producer, because visually, I think it's hard to beat Zack Snyder. He has incredible visuals, whether it's Watchmen, Sucker Punch.
I was just going to say Watchmen, you can't argue with that, whether you like the movie
It's
or
a
not.
beautiful movie. BVS had beautiful moments, too.
Oh, sure. But, okay, so what if Justice League turns out to be, like, one of the most visually stunning, great directed pieces of thing? Like, you were like...
Am I going to change my mind on Zack Snyder?
Well, the problem is, I mean, yes, if Man of Steel plus Batman versus Superman equals like a reflection of Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Sure, but one of our biggest bitches is that there's obviously the meddling,
Yes.
right? Justice League, clearly they're pulling out. Clearly they're pulling out their meddling fingers in that. And if Zack Snyder kind of has his criticisms, like everything they've criticized against him, plus he doesn't have a, string up his ass, there's probably going to be more creative control on his part. What happens if that turns out really great and then we don't get him anymore?
Well, what I want to say is I don't like any director staying on a franchise for too long, and I will list a couple examples here. Nolan. The Dark Knight Rises is the worst of the franchise, in my opinion.
I think it's better than Batman Begins.
Batman Begins is my favorite of the trilogy. So, I mean, everyone's got different opinions, obviously, about the...
Well, Batman Begins was a fluid story, and it wasn't like a giant sequence of trailers.
But Sam Raimi, what's the worst Spider-Man? Third one. And there's multiple instances of this where it's like...
What's the worst Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah, and it's like they all have like the same directors.
What's the worst Star Wars?
Yeah, George Lucas, like, that's one of the points I was going to make too, is he made, the first Star Wars, which is amazing, and then he stayed involved with the franchise or too heavily involved for too long, or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. George Lucas had a big impact on that. It's like sometimes you just need to let your baby go and like
see what someone else can do with it.
Exactly. Stay on as like a producing credit or something.
Sure.
Like I said, I don't want Zack Snyder gone. I just don't want him in the director's chair. And hopefully we see that with Justice League and all the movies moving forward. That's it for me on most anticipated film. Now, I just want to really quick wrap up what's some Star Wars things that are coming out that we're excited for. Books. I don't know if you're keeping up with the comics.
No, I haven't really read any of the comics. But from what I hear, they're fantastic.
I want to pick up the Obi-Wan. I've heard the Marvel
I've
Obi-Wan
seen all the
is really
covers for
good.
those, and they're beautiful. Like I was telling you earlier, I just listened to the Ahsoka audiobook, which is narrated by Ashley Eckstein, who plays Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars and the Rebels.
Let them know who Ahsoka is
series.
if they don't.
Ahsoka was the Padawan to Anakin Skywalker. She was assigned to him by Obi-Wan to essentially kind of put Anakin in the master's chair to kind of rein him in and go, all right, like now it's your turn. And he at first was really reluctant, and Ahsoka was this very childish, young character that came up, she would call Anakin like Sky Guy and very nicknamey, and it was very annoying. And at first you're almost, you don't like the character because she's so childish. And then as that series progresses, she becomes an adult, not only physically but mentally. She's been put through the entirety of the Clone Wars, so now she's a commander or a general in the army, and she's had to lead people to their deaths. She's had to be put in these very serious combat situations. I mean, notwithstanding just the Jedi situations that they always get put into morally. And then when she shows up in the Rebels series, she is an adult. And she is no longer a Jedi. She's left the Jedi Order. And this book, in Rebels, you finally get to see her confront Anakin who's now Darth Vader. So it's very much the...
Go watch Rebels.
Yeah, Padawan to Masters. A battle that you always really wanted to see. So it's fantastic.
It's not like a quick I'm gonna take a slice at
no,
Obi-Wan and he's gonna melt.
It's a whole episode with Ezra, the main character from Rebels, who's stumbled across an old Darth Maul who's taken up residence in an old Sith temple.
Okay, I was just gonna say Darth Maul makes a resurgence in Rebels.
And then Ahsoka, they get split up essentially. And she confronts Vader, who shows up, and it's really kind of cool because not only do they, mention the whole Master Padawan thing, but in their fight, she gets half of his helmet with her lightsaber.
Ooh!
So you see, like, a portion of Anakin's partially burned face. So it kind of helps you visually bring back that master apprentice feel.
Oh, okay.
Which is really cool. And his eyes yellow and red.
A lot of
he's got
good
the
symbolism in there then.
Tons of it. It's really cool. Really cool.
And you've been loving the book so far?
And the book I finished. It was fantastic. It was very well read.
Canon.
Yeah, it is canon.
So how far does she go into the future? Like, where are we at in relation to, like, The Force Awakens?
So, Order 66 has happened. She is on the run.
She survived Order 66?
She survived Order 66 because one of the other members of the Jedi Order, Barriss Offee, essentially kind of threw her under the bus. And she took the fall for some stuff, and she just bailed. And just said, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, and left. So she officially was no longer a Jedi. She was a Force user. But when people referred to her as a Jedi, she said, I'm not a Jedi anymore. They talk about Rex, one of the clone commanders. He's dead. Anakin is Darth Vader at this point. She does not know that Anakin is Darth Vader.
Okay.
She is under the assumption that Obi-Wan and Anakin are dead.
Okay.
She does run into Bail Organa, Leia's adopted father. So there are some really cool short bits in the book where they touch on Obi-Wan on Tatooine while Luke's young, which is really neat. The struggle that they have, that Bail Organa realizes that Ahsoka's alive and, says, like, I could let Obi-Wan know, and I'm sure he would love to hear that she's okay, but for the sake of my daughter, Leia,
right,
who's still a child, I think she's like 4. So Leia's 4 at this point. And for Luke, wherever he is, I can't get a hold of Obi-Wan. I only told him I would do it in an absolute emergency. This is not an emergency. She's alive. She's okay. I would, he'd just be going out of his way to bring attention to her. So it was kind of neat because you're like, yeah, tell Obi-Wan, this would be awesome. He's just like, nah, I can't do it.
But they made sense out of it, and it wasn't like a cheap.
Yeah, very good book. It does have its own, little storyline with her that, isn't related to the grand Star Wars scheme. But fantastic book, really well read. Cool to hear it in the character's voice. And I would highly recommend it as an audiobook.
And
cool.
I want to build on that and say I am currently reading my very first Star Wars novel, trying to get into the lore and the new canon and things like that.
Any?
Ha!
Oh, wow.
If you can see, he has 3 books over there.
Yeah.
But I am reading Star Wars Catalyst, which is your setup, your prequel to the prequel, that is Rogue One. It is setting up all the characters to put in place for where they are in Rogue One. Where's Jyn Erso, Felicity Jones's character at the beginning of Rogue One? Where's Galen Erso, Mads Mikkelsen, Commander Krennic? I forget what his official title is. Orson Krennic, who is the guy in the all white that you see in the trailers all over the place.
The Admiral? Is he an admiral at that point?
In the
trailer,
not use
it
the
looks like
title.
an admiral uniform.
Yeah, it's like an Admiral Thrawn uniform with the cape. But I think it's kind of like he gets promoted multiple times through these different... Like, it's like the Empire's still figuring...
Through deaths?
Yeah. The Empire's still figuring itself out. It's like, oh, you're this title. And you get a sense of that that the Empire is still setting up. Like, they don't quite know what they're doing. Like, Tarkin has like 4 titles. And he doesn't even like being called Grand Moff Tarkin. He likes Governor Tarkin.
I'm interested to read what they do with Tarkin in that, because I've listened to all the Tarkin books.
It's a pissing contest is what it is.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
It's Tarkin and Krennic have a pissing contest for the second half of the book. I still have a little bit left to go, but I'm really liking...
Almost done with it.
Yeah, I'm almost done with the book.
So that being said, do you feel that you're glad you read it because you understand more about the characters, or
Yes.
do you think that it would be better not to read it and go into the movie blind?
Oh, I definitely think that if you're trying to decide, if you're like, I'm going to read this book, but I don't know when to read this book, read it before you go into Rogue One. Because I'm sure there's lots of things that they either are going to barely touch on or not show you in the movie. And if you have this prior knowledge, every emotional moment in that film is going to make more sense to you. I think it's a little bit of a dry book to some degree, but it's a great world building book. Like, you have Saw Gerrera from the Clone Wars, that's going to be played by Forrest Whitaker, has a decent sized role in the book.
And this is a physical copy. You're not listening to audio.
No, I'm listening to the audio.
Oh,
book.
okay.
I'm listening to Audible. That's why I got like an hour left of the narration.
Who narrates it?
I'd have to look it up again. Okay. But it's crazy all the different voices he can do and stuff. You find out that Galen Erso has moved like 5 times, and
Spoiler alert.
there's a lot of interesting things that happen in the book, and I think what's most interesting, you get a hint in the trailers of Galen's relationship with Orson Krennic, and where did that come from? Well, you want to know where it came from? Read Catalyst. You want to know where how all these characters got where they are, Jen's upbringing. Read Catalyst. It's a great book.
Speaking of not so much a spoiler at all. I went and saw Inferno.
Okay.
Which is the follow-up film to Da Vinci Code. But Felicity Jones is in it.
Right.
And so as I see her character, I was like, you know what? I'm actually kind of disappointed that I'm seeing her in something. Because that's what I strive for in Star Wars movies is
you want something that you haven't seen a lot of.
Yeah. Right.
You bring up a good point, though. I think Rogue One is more cast heavy than some of the other Star Wars because you have Forrest Whitaker. Everyone knows Forrest Whitaker. Right. Donnie Yen is my favorite foreign actor. Like, I love Donnie Yen. I'm so excited that he's in the role. You have some returning cast members. Well, I guess it would be from Star Wars, but you got Mon Mothma, the same actress from Revenge of the Sith,
which is her daughter, the original actress's daughter.
I didn't know that. That's amazing. Bail Organa's returning.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw an image from Empire Magazine today, and I was like, oh, Bail Organa. Cool. And same actor from Revenge of the Sith.
Which makes sense because Bail Organa really does almost found the rebellion. Like, he is one of the solely responsible people for the founding of the Rebel Alliance.
Well, yeah, he was very close with the Jedi Order, and when that all went to shit, he's like, well, I don't like this.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. I'm glad that he's in there.
And then, like you brought up, Felicity Jones and Mads Mikkelsen, obviously, just was the main villain for Doctor Strange. So
Alan Tudyk.
Well, yeah, I don't know how many people are going to be like, oh, that's Alan Tudyk.
No, you don't see his face. But
that, and it doesn't sound like him,
he's
really.
not going to be a leaf on the wind or anything. No. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that. Do you have any Star Wars things to bring up that you've been keeping up with, or?
No.
Okay. Well, now you have some recommendations.
Yeah, you guys are my Star Wars.
Rebels is great. Yeah, currently in the season.
Getting back into Clone Wars.
I just want to say how, like, Star Wars has always had the biggest universe, but now even in the midst of all, like, the newest incarnations of everything, the MCU, the DC multiverse, Star Wars has the most formats for its outlet that are, like, consistent with its canon, right? It's got television shows, it's got the movies, it's got books,
video games,
comics.
Video games, comics, it's got everything. Whereas MCU's got the movies and like its TV shows, sort of,
and a couple of games
based off the MCU.
No, not off the movie universe. Side note: last Star Wars thing I've got is, and you just started playing it, but the app game Star Wars Heroes.
Oh yeah,
it is a fantastic game.
Is it an actual playable game and not like a card? Like
it's a turn-based game like Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
I'm like level 30. I don't know. Yeah, I'm level 30.
I think I hit level 60. So,
Jesus.
But the great thing is I'm not even halfway to unlocking all the characters, let alone upgrading it. They just had a ship expansion. It's a really fun game.
Is there? I mean,
it's addicting.
Is there a lot of like kind of like waiting and like elaborate
it's grinding
going on with like Tapped Out? Remember when we played Simpsons Tapped Out?
Yeah.
Not
like that.
A lot of that you had to wait like real time on a lot of stuff.
You do for your like your Cantina points and the points that you use to do your battles with, but they give you like every 4 hours they'll give you like half your points, and you can overlap them. So say you have like 119 points, and they give you like, oh, here's 65 more. Well, it'll stack.
It doesn't cap out, which is nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
But
I've
been
been
really
looking
fun
for
game.
a new app game because I don't play.
Because Pokemon Go died.
Play it. You can.
Well, I played Pokemon Go for like 3 weeks before I lost interest. If that.
I played a lot longer than that.
And that's what happens to me with app games is that I lose interest real quick. This is the longest I've ever played.
There's an equivalent called DC. It's either Heroes or Legends. The
remember
format is
about that.
exactly the same.
Oh, really?
Like everything is exactly the same. So if you like Star Wars and you like DC characters, play that because it's nothing's different. So we have all kinds of things to recommend for you guys, and I'll come at you with some comic book knowledge in the near future.
Okay, so what episode would you guess that the Rogue One podcast would be?
It's about 3 weeks from now, I
32?
think. Probably. I'm thinking episode 32.
31 or 32.
Which will be the next morning after. So that will be an immediate follow-up.
It'll be a Friday. Yeah. So it'll be right after premiere night. Me and Tyler, I think, will be seeing it that morning.
We're anticipating another guest, correct?
Yes.
Andy, would you like to join me for a podcast based on Doctor Who? A Doctor Who discussion?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. I haven't decided yet if
Let's do it after the Christmas special.
Can you call it Whoville?
Well, okay, yeah. So then we'll just do a Doctor Who series recap.
Yeah.
Hopefully that doesn't run much longer than an hour. But looking forward to the Rogue One podcast. Many other exciting things coming up in the future.
Andy's doing a solo podcast with Wicket.
It's true.
Might do a series review of Walking Dead. Got Game of Thrones coming up this year. Huh? You
in for that, yeah.
Are you in? All right.
Yeah, totes.
Got him in for another thing.
I do Flash episodic reviews, so make sure you're watching those. Thank you so much for bearing with us. Obviously, we had a lot of content to catch you up on and accommodate our guest. Again, thank you for having us over here so very much.
Thanks.
We look forward to doing our Rogue One review a lot. Hopefully, it's another great addition to the Star Wars lineage. And yeah, any final thoughts, guys?
No.
All right. Again, thanks, guys. Make sure to follow us on all our various social medias in the upcoming page that's coming here. And until next time, may the Force be with you, because look at where we are.
All right.
Always.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and keep an eye and an ear out for exciting new content. Be sure to follow us on all the social media sites. Twitter is @TheFansplash. YouTube, just search Fansplash. We've got an open Facebook network, Fansplash Network. Instagram is fan_splash_podcast. SoundCloud.com/fansplash. You can email us, thefansplash@gmail.com, and Reddit @r/fansplash. Title and end credit songs written by Jacob Hall. See you next time!